Welcome to the Modern Homesteading Podcast.
We have allowed ourselves to become so disconnected and ignorant about something that is as intimate as the food that we eat.
Be prepared to grow your own for victory.
God said, I need somebody strong enough to clear trees and heave bales, yet gentle enough to yean lambs and wean pigs and tend the pink-foamed pullets who will stop his mower for an hour to splint the broken leg of a meadowlark. So God made a farmer.
Hello and welcome back to the Modern Homesteading Podcast. I'm your host, Harold Thornborough from smalltownhomestead.com, and this is day 9 of our 30 days of homesteading Q&A, where I've reached out to some of the best bloggers and podcasters in the homesteading space to answer your questions about homesteading. And we'll just jump right into it. Today's question is, it's my first year with chickens and wanted some advice on preparing for winter. Is there anything special I need to do for my birds or anything I need to pay special attention to through the winter? And I think that's a great question. We're coming into winter here. And back to answer this question is Mayot from thefrugalchicken.com. Mayot's got some great advice for us on how to prepare your chicken coop for winter, and then I'll come back with some added thoughts on that. Mayot, what do you say? What can we do to help our chickens out in the winter?
Hi, this is Mayot with Frugal Chicken, thefrugalchicken.com. If you're wondering about ways to prepare your chicken coop for winter, here's some hints. But first remember that unless you live in an extremely cold climate, your chickens will be able to weather the winter very well. The first thing I recommend to winterize your coop is to seal all cracks and potential draft areas in the coop. You can do this with plastic or wood, but try to stay away from caulks, styrofoam, or anything your chickens might potentially try to eat. You can also add extra bedding in the nests or wherever else your flock might sleep, keeping in mind that when it gets really cold, they'll fluff up their feathers and roost closely together for warmth. Now, if you want eggs throughout the winter, you can add a light. Chickens need at least 12 hours of daylight to lay, and a light will give you some extra daylight as the sun wanes. Just turn it on for a couple hours at dusk. If you can't use electricity, a battery-powered lamp works too. Unless you live in a very cold climate, a heat lamp usually isn't necessary, and I don't recommend them unless it's well below 0 degrees Fahrenheit or if you have chicks that are not fully feathered yet. Make sure your flock is getting a good, balanced diet, and if it's very cold out, you can add some chopped corn to their dinner for an extra energy boost. I hope this answers your questions. For more recommendations for winterizing your coop, you can head over to my blog, thefrugalchicken.com/wintercoops, and winter coops is all one word, where I discuss winter coops on my podcast, What the Cluck.
That's some great stuff from Mayot there. Thank you for that. I agree that you definitely got to get that chicken coop prepared for winter. But I do want to make a distinction between preventing drafts and having ventilation. Drafts are bad. Anything that air blowing directly on your chickens is very bad. But you do, however, need ventilation in your coop. And how you can tell if your coop is well ventilated or not is early in the morning, maybe if you'll see dew on the inside of your windows or on the inside of the coop anywhere. Any kind of moisture inside the coop is bad. And in the winter, it's really bad. As that moisture gets on the chickens, on their combs and their wattles, and even their feet can become frostbit from the moisture. So you want to make sure you got good ventilation in the coop to prevent moisture in there. And usually that's done through like ridge vents or a roof vent or something like that. And like I said, the distinction is, a draft would be air moving right across your chickens, or ventilation is not blowing directly on them, but it is allowing for an exchange of air in the coop. Not only do you need good ventilation just for the moisture reasons, but also just for the ammonia and other gases that are in their manure. So, yeah, you definitely have to have good ventilation. And, keep an eye on that. You definitely want to keep an eye on their combs and their wattles and their feet in the winter. In extreme weather, a heat lamp could be necessary, but usually not. Chickens can weather it pretty good, as Mayot explained. They can handle the weather really well. So just make sure that, you keep the water and the food in there, and you might have to get some kind of a heated bowl for their water. Keep plenty of water in the coop. Keep plenty of food for them to eat, and they should be fine. But yeah, definitely take care of that coop. And I encourage you to go on over to Mayotte's website, thefrugalchicken.com. Check out her blog and also her podcast, What the Cluck. And as she said there, she has done a complete episode on chicken coops. So look that up and tell her we sent you. If you want to see the show notes for this episode, head on over to smalltownhomestead.com/winterchickens, all one word, winter chickens. Check back with us in a couple days. We'll have another great answer and a great question for you. And until then, happy homesteading. God bless.
Thanks for listening. To see the show notes for this podcast or listen to other podcast episodes, go to smalltownhomestead.com. There you can also read our blog, connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and take advantage of the many resources we make available to help you along in your homesteading journey. Please share this podcast and help us to carry out our mission of helping others to homestead today for a better tomorrow.